What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals. I'm here with my little dire wolf, Wolfie, and we are ready. I know we're Movie Meals, we're a movie channel, but there's one show, if you've read this title, that is just on a different level than everything else right now, and that is Game of Thrones. So I'm going to do a quick little snack time reaction to the Season 7, Episode 1. Kyle is not with me. Kyle does not watch Game of Thrones, or he is currently in the process of watching it, but he's not hooked, and he's going real slow. So if you want to see that change, comment below and start yelling at him. But I love Game of Thrones. I got into it last year, about a year and a half ago. A friend of mine finally convinced me to watch it, and I caught all the way up to see the Season 6 finale. But now we're going to talk about Episode 1, just some quick thoughts on it for you guys and for myself. But we are going to do all things spoilers. I'm not going to... You got to have watched this show and this episode to know what I'm talking about. So please... spoiler alert right now, but let's start with the opening scene, which might be... I'm getting close to saying I'm pretty sure it's my favorite opening scene of Game of Thrones entirely. The Winds of Winter, the finale of Season 6, that was pretty dang good. I loved it. It's amazing. But there was something about this. I'm a big Stark fanboy. I'm rooting for the Starks. They are my... most of my favorite characters all come from them. Most of my favorite storylines. Jon Snow, I love everything about him. We have Walder Frey being portrayed as Arya. She's wearing his face, and she's not just saying Walder Frey's enough. She's doing a reverse red wedding. She's killing everyone who was there. And I loved it. I love that they really get this revenge. She tells the daughters and the wives, don't drink the wine. You don't deserve it. And then when it's revealed, I love let everyone know what happened here today is that winter is here. And I love it. It's the Starks are back. And sticking with Arya, she ends up meeting Ed Sheeran. We'll just follow her storyline from the episode for a second here. She meets with Ed Sheeran. The cameo didn't bother me. His voice is great. I'm a big fan of his music. So I was completely fine with it. I love that dynamic and the awkwardness where we get a little bit of a look of also these soldiers. Even though they're Lannister soldiers, they're normal people waiting to see if they have a boy or a girl back home, how their parents are doing, helping their elderly parents who are fishing and whatnot. And there's moments though where you're like, is Arya gonna kill these guys? And a theory that came up to me that my younger brother told me that I love is that maybe she'll just kill one of them and end up wearing that face to get into King's Landing more. I want to see her do this reunion. I'm big on this reunion with the Starks, so I want to see her head to Winterfell, maybe get a reunion with her direwolf, whose name escapes me right now. But so Arya's been one of my favorite characters. I thought her had a little bit up and down storyline with the Faceless Man in Season 6, but overall really loved the end result. So I really enjoyed this beginning scene of Game of Thrones. And then we get a scene of the White Walkers. We get to see Bran, who warged into. We get giants in the army of the dead. It's going to get nuts. That battle is going to be nuts. And I cannot wait for it. We get finally Bran back at the wall. Mira gets a break from pulling him on this sled. And that it's going to be big significance. We didn't see any. I know some fans are saying, he's been touched by the Night King. Is the wall going to come down if he crosses? And nothing happened really. And maybe it's not the wall falls. Maybe it's just that now the wall, they can actually cross. So now they have an obstacle. We got to get maybe around the wall, which will lead me into talking about Jon Snow, because he talks about sending the wildlings. I believe it was the East Castle, which is connected to the water, which maybe the Night King can go around using the water or something. I don't know, but we'll find out. But we'll stick with Jon and Sansa for a little bit. We get moments where Sansa kind of undermines Jon in front of everyone, and he confronts her later about it, but she's saying loud and clear, Jon, you didn't listen to me when I said we weren't ready to fight Ramsay. We needed more, and she saved him from dying in the Battle of the Bastards. And she's like, you're not taking my counsel into consideration here, but I also get Jon's point. He talks where we need to stay noble, which is the same thing his father Ned would have done. Well, Father Ned would have done, or Robb would have done, staying noble to these houses. But it's a big moment where Jon's not as before when Jon died, he was very much like, let's be cautious, let's think, let's vote, let's do this. But now he's like, no, this is the way it's going to happen. He's not as afraid of death, I feel like. He's much more open to what's happening around him. And I love the dynamic with Sansa he has. and possibly, and then moving into Sam, where I think John's going to end up going is to going and getting all the dragon glass, a dragon stone, by going and meeting Dany for the first time, which is something that Sam finds out if you're stealing the books. I'm liking Sam. I'm not a hater of Sam. I like his storyline. I'm not big with Gilly as a character that I think's been there really just to help Sam kind of overcome some hurdles for himself, but I do enjoy him. We get some Jorah Mormont with the Sam storyline, which I love that he is in the Citadel. Or not the Citadel, excuse me. The names escape me, but where Sam is studying to become a maester and to learn and figure out what the dragon glass or how to make Valyrian steel. I love his storyline and the interaction with Jorah. He figured out they have a mountain of dragon glass, a dragon stone, and he's going to send a raven to Jon. I think Jon's going to end up going there or sending someone there. But I was loving that storyline. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what happened with Dany. And then we have Cersei and Jaime. We'll start with Cersei and Jaime, where we can see how crazy Cersei has gotten. She's blowing people up with wildfire. She doesn't care anymore. And I love the direction the character's going in. I don't like the character, which is to me, a big point for how good the writing is and how good the actress is portraying Cersei. And you can see all this dynamic with Jaime, where Jaime's like, it doesn't matter, we have all these enemies, yeah, I get it, but can we talk about our children for a minute? And she's like, nope, doesn't matter, they're dead. Nothing matters now that they're dead. Let's focus, we have enemies north, south, east, west, they're everywhere. And then we see Jaime switch to, all right, if we're not gonna talk as a family, we'll talk as as I'm the Lord Commander of this army. And he says, we don't have any friends. Everyone hates us right now. We're broke. We have nothing right now. And she goes, well, I've taken care of that. And then we get the Ironborn, and we get Theon. And you guys, bear with me with names. I'm not good with names in general, so I struggle in the show a lot. I've gotten a lot better than last year when I started watching the show. But Theon and his sister, and then their uncle, whose names I'm going to continue to try and remember and learn and be able to say as we keep doing these recap and talk videos. But I'm excited to see. I mean, he when their uncle shows up and he's like, I'll be your husband. Like, I'm looking for a queen. I'll go get you. You can't trust me. Clearly, Cersei leads on Jaime's advice and says, yeah, we can't trust this guy. But she's a little bit smarter and says, all right, he now knows, and he's going to go get a gift for her, which could be anything. People are saying, is it Dany's head? Is it Tyrion's head? I think it's going to end up being a sand snake. I have seen some interesting points that maybe he'll go find money for them, because they can't do anything if they're not going to have an army if they can't feed them and give them water and resources. They're not going to be able to do anything, and they'll leave as the Lannisters as their army. So maybe he goes and pays off their debts. Maybe he goes and finds money for them, or make another alliance with somebody. Or maybe he does bring a sand snake's head, which again is something I think is going to happen. I think maybe he's going to go after a sand snake. I think they make a big deal where Jaime's like, we can't fight Daenerys because we don't have any friends. The Lannister army is not enough. And then I think the Greyjoys now know that they can't fight Dany either. So I don't think they're just going to go straight in and fight Dany immediately. I do think we're going to get a ship battle, and maybe we're going to get a Sand Snake being killed, and that'll be enough to form the alliance and the marriage for the Lannisters and the Ironborn to then full-on attack Dany. But I'm loving this dynamic with Jaime being ticked off, the hands comment that is made, the killing your brother, it's a great feeling comment. We're getting all these new dynamics, and we're getting a new villain, and that's something I'm really excited for. A villain that the actor is saying is going to put Joffrey and Ramsay, make them look like nothing. And that excites me because I want to get another big villain where you can actively hate him. Because I really, for the characters of Joffrey and Ramsay, I really liked them. Especially Ramsay. I thought Ramsay was very calculated, and his pain that he brought onto people was specific, and it was a different way than just Joffrey, who I thought was just an untamed violence, whereas Ramsay was a little bit more like he can control where it goes. And now we've got a character who's seen everything in the world. And to me, that's really interesting. I know to a lot of fans, it's really interesting. So there's a lot of places we could go. But as I'm wrapping up here in my head, we'll end with Dany. As Dany gets to Dragonstone, it's a huge moment for her to be back here. Since she was a little girl and then had to be forced away, she's now ready for a full-on fight. And I love that when she walks to the throne room, Grey Worm wants to follow her, but either Melisandre, or not Melisandre. I'm forgetting her name too. The names are getting me under the lights, guys. Which says, hey, relax for a second, let her go do her thing. And she walks up and immediately is like, nah, and she's not ready to sit on a throne because it's not the Iron Throne. So she goes right behind to the table map and says, let's get going. Let's begin. Let's start and let's fight a war. And we see in the promo for the next episode that we're going to get that, where we get Theon's sister being like, all right, we've got dragons, we've got a fleet, we got everything. This is the time. We should go right now. We shouldn't wait. And I love that dynamic, especially if Jon's going to make his way to her for the dragon glass and say, hey, I'll fight this war with you. But when we're done, I need your help. I need your dragons. I need everything you got. All that dragon glass. I need all of it. And we need to go fight the Night King. I'll do this real quick for you, but then we got a bigger threat coming. And I love that that's Jon's focus too, is that I've seen this Night King. I've seen him. I've seen him lift his hands up, and every one of my comrades just rose, and now he's got a bigger army. Like, how do we beat this guy? We have to be prepared, whereas Sansa's more focused on Cersei. Danny's more focused on Cersei, but Jon and Sam are sticking with it. We've got to fight the Night King. This is the real threat, and I loved just so many there's so many great moments in this episode. I really loved the episode overall. It was remember where these guys are? This is where they're slowly coming together. I mean, I didn't even talk about the Brotherhood Without Banners. I love their moment. We're seeing the Hound completely transform, and I think he's going to be a big character moving forward. I love the arc he's going on. Beric Dondarrion, come on, man. He's got a flaming sword. I love all of it. I'm ready for the big fights they're all going to have as they're all coming together, and all the plot lines are merging into these big fights. And this show does such a good job at balancing. Where a show because I'm a big fan of a show like The Walking Dead, but they're starting to try this Game of Thrones, let's do 8 storylines at once, and they haven't figured it out. Where Game of Thrones, for most of their episodes, some episodes are a little wonky in other seasons where it doesn't really work for me, but for the most part overall, they're really good at saying, we're going to look at this guy, and this guy, and it works throughout the whole show, and you don't feel like, I wanted more of this or this, I got a little bit, but now they're all slowly coming together. They're all slowly forming together, and that's what I really, really love about this show, is now we're like, okay, Jon's probably going to end up with either this character, or all of them at some point, and we can feel it coming, and there's just big fights to come, guys. Winter is here. And I'm so glad Game of Thrones is back. I'm going to be doing these little just recaps, talk about what happened in the episodes, and then my quick thoughts on if I loved them or if I didn't really like it, what I think's coming next. I really do think next episode we're getting Jon, or Jon is getting that raven from Sam, and he's going to want that dragon glass. So I'm really excited for everything to come. All these wars, we're going to get a big ship battle. I cannot wait for these fleets to just go on, and just these armadas just attack each other. All these Greyjoys coming together, the Ironborn just fighting it out. And I'm just so excited. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see that too, especially with the Dothraki who don't like these ships in the water. How will they fare? Will their uncle be able to beat them bad? Or will they end up Dany's team winning a fight on the sea with the dragons and everything else? I think the uncle's going to end up winning that battle at first, and I think things will change, but I'm so excited. Guys, what did you think of this first episode of Game of Thrones? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Did anything bother you? Everything worked for me in this episode. Nothing really felt slow or unwanted. It all is coming together, and I really enjoyed every moment of it. I know I missed a lot. Sam talking with the Archmaester. They've got the body. They're weighing hearts and doing all this stuff. And real quick, actually, as I was wrapping up, and then I think of more. That's what the show does. You think of more, you want to talk about it. But talking with the Archmaester, and he's like, I believe you. Most of the guys here don't, but that's the point of us as Maesters, is we're the world's memory. We're supposed to doubt everything, and I do believe you, but we've made it through before. And that's something that reflects our life today, whereas throughout history, there's lots of moments where kind of many people or cultures, things like that, were like, oh, the world's going to end, this is going to happen, but we're still here. The wall was still up in Game of Thrones, and I love that he says, I do believe you, but, we've survived before. And I think this wall is going to end up actually coming down, or they're either going to cross it, or something's going to happen where this threat's actually here and it's going to be real and it's changing history. And I'm just excited to see. I know it's a shorter season, but I can't wait till next Sunday to check it out. So guys, I'm finally wrapped up. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. What's working for you, your predictions. Thanks for tuning into this spoiler rific, just great time talking Game of Thrones. It'll probably be up every Tuesday, because Kyle and I have so many different things we're putting up and trying and doing, and we're having issues recently with me being on vacation and all this stuff. Like Comic-Con is coming up, so watch out for tons of videos. It'll probably just be Kyle in those videos. I will be on vacation. I've not timed my vacations very well for movie meals, but luckily Kyle will be here and he'll be ready to go, and I may make one or two just out there real quick, maybe a thoughts or something, or follow me on Twitter and I'll tweet my thoughts as well for all these trailers we're probably going to get. But I will be back in time to make another Game of Thrones video, so check that out. Guys, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all that great stuff. And I know my mom doesn't watch Game of Thrones, but hopefully she watches this video anyway, so thanks, Mom, and we'll see you later, guys.